I'm sure we had a lot of angry fans out there voting in this week's Voice of the Fan, where we asked you which team is most in need of a head coaching change, and the results are in. I'm here with Arthur Arkush to break it all down. And Arthur, let's start at the team that got the least percent of the vote, but has the second worst record. That's the Cleveland Browns, 4%.
You know, we talk a lot on this segment about how things are topical. Obviously, we do a subject each week, and Cleveland's playing well. They've won 2 out of 3 games. The young talent is starting to show well. Of course, they're going to have some major decisions after the season with a whole new regime coming in, but right now Cleveland's doing well, and I think that's why they had the lowest percentage here.
Coming in next, the Carolina Panthers at 7%. They already got rid of general manager Marty Hurney, but fans probably want to give Ron Rivera another chance.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's only his second year. He obviously was one of the bigger surprises coming out of the lockout last season, so I think certainly they need to do a lot better, but you don't typically fire a head coach after 1 season, so Rivera maybe has a little bit more leniency here.
Ron Rivera is going to have a new GM coming in that could decide his fate. You talk about Pat Shurmur, a new owner coming in, so you know those two guys, some of it's out of their hands. You go to the Philadelphia Eagles, no real questions about ownership or general manager there, but Andy Reid certainly on the hot seat. The Eagles got 12% of the vote. This is a case of a talented team clearly not playing up to its potential, and Andy Reid, obviously longest tenure head coach in the NFL.
It's been a heck of a run, but I would agree with you. There's not a head coach on this list that is doing less with more than Andy Reid is right now. Listen, he's the one who wanted Michael Vick in. Now he's got this mess on his hands. He made the bet. He's got to sleep in it.
The New York Jets come in 13% of the vote. A lot of people will put the blame on general manager Mike Tannenbaum, but Rex Ryan's not making a whole lot of Jet fans happy the way this team is playing, that he continually backed Mark Sanchez.
I think a lot of the blame needs to fall on Mike Tannenbaum. That offense came into the season without enough playmakers. Mark Sanchez obviously not getting the job done. So what do you do to build yourself a little insurance at the most important position on the field? You bring in a player who really can't play that position. I think it's a total mess.
The Kansas City Chiefs, the 3rd most percent of the vote at 14%. This is another team where we could see a lot of front office changes. Scott Pioli will be just as much on the hot seat as Romeo Crennel.
Yeah, and I think that this is another case of a really talented team, obviously not meeting expectations, but again, Romeo Crennel in his first season, it would be pretty unusual to see a guy get axed that quickly. But again, if Scott Pioli's on the hot seat, oftentimes we like to see the GM bring in his own guy if there's a change there.
You know, when you head to Dallas, America's team, the Cowboys, that head coach is a tough job to have, almost always on the hot seat when they're not playing well. Jason Garrett, you know, when you look at this team too, Garrett's had some time management issues there late in games. They've had some struggles, not playing up to their potential when you look at their talent as well. They come in 2nd place with 17% of the vote.
Time management issues in crunch time, also just kind of play calling issues. I think sometimes they are allergic to running the football with or without DeMarco Murray. That has gotten them into trouble. Jason Garrett has appeared over his head at times, and the question is Jerry Jones willing to make a move on the guy that he anointed the next great head coach in the NFL?
And not a whole lot of surprise running away with this, really. Coming in first place, the San Diego Chargers. 33% of you think that team is most in need of a head coaching change. And Arthur, if we did this last year, or maybe even 2 years ago, I'm guessing San Diego will be right there. Norv Turner kind of always on the hot seat. General manager A.J. Smith also not looking too pretty either, but you look at some of the losses that San Diego's have, Norv Turner is certainly under fire.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, we may sound like a broken record, but there's a reason for it. Norv Turner has looked a little bit listless at times. I mean, his franchise running back has a fumbling problem. The quarterback isn't what he used to be, and you mentioned A.J. Smith, who also deserves to be on the hot seat because the drafting, the free agency moves in recent years just hasn't been good enough, and the talent has really plummeted on that team.
So Arthur, just like every week, I'll put you on the spot. You look at these teams on the list, or maybe a team not on the list. Which one do you think most in need of a head coaching change?
I think the fans got it right. I think Norv Turner, that ship has pretty much sailed at this point. He hasn't appeared to have a clear plan, and some of the losses they've suffered, kind of the position they were in heading into the season, it looked like they could definitely compete in that division. All of a sudden, it looks like the Broncos are ready to run away and hide. I don't think that Turner has the answers that team needs, and I think he's the most likely and also the most deserving to get the axe next.
You know, the Chargers were my pick to win the AFC West. That pick not looking very good because of Norv Turner, the way that team has played. And you talk about the offense, I think it's a real big indictment on head coach Norv Turner. That's his specialty. I think a lot of people will still say he's a great offensive mind and a good head coach. It's just not working this year with Phillip Rivers and Ryan Matthews thus far. Let us know what you think about these results in this week's Voice of the Fan. Do you agree which team is in most need of a head coaching change? Be sure to comment on our YouTube channel and head to our website at profootballweekly.com.